Got all these problems, right? And so all the politicians are coming out with their ideas about how we're going to fix this. And it's an interesting conversation because all the solutions require more government, more control, more interventions. And look, I certainly understand there's lots of problems, right? Healthcare is a problem. Healthcare costs are a problem. Nobody's arguing that. Student tuition's a problem. Nobody's arguing that either. The wage gap. We've talked about the wealth gap within in the country. It's also the wage gap. It's the wage gap between CEOs and executives and the labor. It's a problem. These are not new problems. But what's interesting is these problems have been exacerbated by the very things that politicians are suggesting that we do more of. And what there isn't, and I think this is the most fascinating thing about this, is there isn't any hint of personal responsibility within these problems. Let me give you some examples. Student tuition. Student tuition's a problem. We got to fix the problem. We got to forgive all these people of their debt because of the problem with student tuition, right? They took out these loans. They went and got a college degree. About half of them dropped out without getting college degree, but now have the debt. And now they're having trouble paying off the debt and trying to make ends meet and create a living and those type of things. So we need to pay this off. Well, see, we never talk about the personal responsibility. What about the person that took out the loan? I had this conversation with my liberal cousin in Utah. I'm talking to you. He emailed me yesterday because we were talking about capitalism. And I was talking about personal responsibility is that, we get ourselves into these situations. We don't save enough financially. We don't take care of ourselves. We don't do the type of things we should. And so when a crisis comes, we're not prepared, right? We live in houses that we can't afford. We live, we buy cars we shouldn't. We want to live a lifestyle that's way ahead of what we actually generate in income. So we go into debt to do it. And then when a crisis comes along, we want to all turn to the government and say, hey, bail me out. My comment yesterday about capitalism and letting capitalism work is that at some point you have to allow people to be responsible for their own actions. Well, he emailed me, of course. This was not surprising. Says, well, corporate CEOs are responsible, right? Because they make 30 times the average income of individuals. And I'm like, okay, so what does the salary of the CEO of AT&T or Apple, right? What does the salary of Tim Cook have to do with your personal financial situation? It doesn't. I mean, you're still responsible for your personal financial situation. Now, is the pay gap a problem? Yeah. You want to solve that problem? Stop buying Apple products. They depend on you for their income. They can't pay Tim Cook hundreds of millions of dollars every year if he's not selling any product. We have a personal choice not to buy things. And by the way, if we started being more fiscally responsible, living in houses we can afford, buying cars we can afford, saving 20 or 30% of our income as we should, all of a sudden these companies wouldn't make near as much money because you wouldn't be spending as much, you'd be saving more.
Well, that goes back to personal responsibility, which is no fun either.
Exactly. This all comes down to this show is no fun.
I know.
It's all about,
darn it.
Saving money, eating right, working out. This if you want to be happy, healthy, and financially secure in retirement, that's what you have to do. And it's no fun. One advantage of this whole kind of lockdown situation, have you ever tried to do your kids' math at school?
Impossible.
It's impossible, right? So, because, to solve a simple math problem, you got to have all these boxes and you fill in the boxes and it's all this kind of newfangled math way that's very confusing and very long-winded. So I taught my kids to do addition, subtraction, division, the vertical way, the real way. The real way, right? Yeah. So I've completely screwed them up, but they are so much faster in math. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like, well, we don't have to do all this and get the same answer. I'm like, yeah, just don't tell anybody I told you this.
It'll be our little
I've been
secret.
through those same fights, Lance.
I know, right?
But Daddy, that's not the way they taught us.
I know,
do you want to learn how to do it quickly, or do you want to learn how to do it?
Exactly. So yeah, they're so the next thing I'm going to do is teach my daughter cursive. This is the next thing. Actually, the other day she was at dance and I had to go pick her up. And there was, the parking lot was really crowded, and so I was kind of way down at the end, and so I got on my phone and I scribbled in cursive that says I'm here down the parking lot, and I texted it to her, and she gets it, and I can see her. She's about 100 feet away from me, and I can see her looking at her phone, and she's got this very confused look on her face. So I texted her back. I said, "I forgot you can't read cursive. I'm here."
The other thing they can't do is type.
I know, right? They can hunt and peck, though. They're very good at hunting and pecking
with their thumbs.
It's amazing how fast they are.
Yeah, exactly, but they can't actually type with all their fingers. Yeah. Anyway, life issues. Back to the
They're
story
old,
here.
Lance. That's
I know,
what
right?
You're really saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I am old. We write a lot about this stuff, and it's always fascinating to me is that when we talk about these things, people assume that we're sitting all in cash, right? We warn about, hey, there's some risk in the markets. We're kind of de-risking. We're hedging here a little bit. And they assume we're 100% in cash. And then, when the market does correct, we get these comments coming back saying, well, yeah, you missed the whole run up. Well, it doesn't really matter if I miss a 5% advance and then you get a 10% correction that takes you back to where you were, 2 months ago, which is what happened. What did you miss? You didn't miss anything, because unless you actually sold the very top tick, which most people don't do, you didn't miss anything. All you did was round trip your portfolio at that point. So the whole point of investing is when things do get extended, more extreme, you take some money off the table, you put it in cash to lock in some profits, and then you have an opportunity to buy back, which we did during the correction. We started adding a little bit back into some of our favored positions that had gotten oversold on a short-term basis, and we'll probably trade those again over the course of the next week or so if we get another bounce. But that's just portfolio management, and that's the differential that you've got to kind of separate out between what you read in the media and what really happens within a portfolio. Is that if you listen to the media, you're all in all the time. They never tell you to sell anything until you've already lost 50% of your money. Then they'll tell you to sell most time. This is really off topic of what we were talking about a second ago, and we'll get back to that because that's important. But no, it's really very simple. That basically it's 20% of whatever you consume. It can no more than 20% can be fat. So if you look at something that's 1 gram of fat, you multiply the gram of fat by 9, divide that into your total calories, and that can't be more than 20%. So if you follow that rule, you're going to eat a lot better. And then, of course, the other side of this is eating 5 to 6 small meals a day rather than eating 1 or 2 very large meals, because you have to fuel your body like an engine. And if you do that, you'll keep your weight off, and you'll lose weight, and you'll develop muscle tone, and you'll be a lot better. So, but it's just a process of creating a lifestyle. And the problem for our healthcare system is that, we've developed a society that eats a lot of fast food, and we're overweight, we're obese, we have all kinds of medical issues. You're on all kinds of medication for diabetes and high blood pressure and all this other stuff. And you shouldn't be. If you just ate well and exercised moderately 3 to 4 times a week, you'll be off all your meds within a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, in 5 or 6 times, eating that, multiple times each day, a taco every couple hours seems to be doing pretty good. I mean, I like this.
Yes. The right type of taco, you can do it.
Yeah, of course. How do you think I got this physique, Lance?
Yeah,
Come on.
Exactly.